Alright, today's video is going to be a fun one. But before we start, let me say this very clearly. Do not use most of this vocabulary in the office. Seriously, if you go up to your boss and say, "You're an absolute rocket, I cannot help you," that one's on you. Today, we're talking about British dating vocabulary. The expressions people use when they like someone, when they flirt, when things get romantic, and of course, when things go wrong. Because let's be honest, British dating culture is rarely smooth and elegant. It's usually awkward, slightly embarrassing, and weirdly charming, just like us Brits. We're going to break this into 4 simple sections. Words and phrases for someone who's attractive. Words and phrases for flirting. Words and phrases for breakups. And general dating vocabulary. So let's get into it. Number 1, words and phrases for someone who's attractive. Let's start with the fun part, talking about someone good looking. In British English, there are so many different slang words for this, and they often change depending on age and region. The first one you must know is fit. If someone is fit, in British English, it doesn't mean they go to the gym. It means they are physically attractive. For example, did you see the new guy at work? He's fit. This is super common with millennials and slightly older Gen Z. It's casual, a little bit enthusiastic, and very British. Now here's a slightly younger version. Spice. Sometimes younger people, especially teenagers and those in their early 20s, might say, "She is such a spice," meaning she's attractive. It's playful, modern, and definitely not something your grandparents are saying. Speaking of grandparents, we have the word looker. This is something older generations might say. She's a real looker. It sounds polite and a bit old-fashioned, but it's still a really big compliment. Another strong compliment is stunner. If someone is a stunner, they are extremely attractive. So attractive that they stun you. For example, he walked into the party and everyone just stared. He's an absolute stunner. This one is pretty universal across age groups and regions. Now, a British slang favourite, peng. This is very common in London and among younger speakers. If someone is peng, they're really attractive or good looking. You might hear, "She's peng," or "That guy is peng." Another London-influenced word, lang. Similar vibe to peng, very casual, definitely not formal. Definitely not for teachers, family dinners, or professional environments. For example, that actor is lang. A slightly older classic phrase, sort. This means someone is really attractive. You might hear, "He's a proper sort," or "She's a right sort." This one has a slightly playful, cheeky feel to it. And finally, one of the boldest compliments, an absolute rocket. This one is strong. If someone calls you a rocket, they think you're incredibly attractive. For example, did you see her tonight? She's an absolute rocket. Again, not for the office, not for your teachers. Use carefully. Number 2, words and phrases for flirting. Now, let's move on to the fun, slightly dangerous world of flirting. First up, chirps. This is a very British slang word meaning to flirt with someone, especially in a chatty, friendly way. For example, he's been chirping her all night. You'll hear this one more from younger generations. Then we have chat someone up. This is more universal across ages. It simply means to flirt by talking to someone and trying to impress them. For example, he tried to chat me up at the bar. Next, we've got on the pull. If someone says they're on the pull, it means they're going out specifically to try and meet someone and flirt. For example, he's dressed up tonight. He's definitely on the pull. Then we have grafting. If you watch British reality TV, especially dating shows, you'll hear this a lot. To graft means to put effort into flirting and trying to win someone's attention. For example, he's really grafting with her. Another modern word, rizz. This is newer slang. So new, in fact, that I have been accused of being too old to use it by my younger friends and family members. Rizz means flirt, charm, or smooth confidence when talking to someone you like. It's actually short for the word charisma. For example, you might say, he's got great rizz. We also say, move to someone. No, you are not physically relocating. This means approaching someone romantically. This one is used more in London. For example, he tried moving to her at the party. And finally, lay it on thick. This means flirting in a very obvious, heavy, maybe slightly exaggerated way. For example, he was laying it on thick. Too many compliments. Number 3, words and phrases for ending things. Sadly, not every love story is a happy one. So we also need some breakup vocabulary. These are very British, very real, and sometimes quite brutal. First up is dump. This is very direct, very common, and not very gentle. For example, she dumped him. It sounds harsh because it is harsh, but you'll hear this all the time. It's casual, everyday English. Another phrase, sack it off. This means to end a relationship or decide it's not worth continuing. It can also be used for plans, hobbies, or commitments, but in dating, it usually means, yeah, I don't think this is working. For example, he sacked it off in the end. It sounds slightly less dramatic than dump, but it's equally harsh. You can also simply say, end it. Short, serious, and slightly less slangy. For example, she decided to end it. This sounds a bit more mature and less like teenage drama. And finally, something a bit more emotional, mug someone off. This means to treat someone badly, embarrass them, reject them, or make them feel foolish, especially in a romantic situation. For example, he totally mugged her off. Maybe he cheated. Maybe he led her on. Maybe he didn't treat her fairly. Whatever happened, it wasn't kind. Not nice at all, but very useful to understand, especially if you watch British reality TV. Number 4, general dating vocabulary. Now, let's talk about some everyday dating language. The phrases you'll hear all the time when people are talking about love, dating, and emotions. First one is fancy someone. If you fancy someone, you're attracted to them. You think they're cute, interesting, and you'd quite like something to happen. For example, I fancy her. This is extremely common and very British. It's similar to the American term crush, but in the UK, it's used by people of all ages. Next, we have ask someone out. This means inviting someone on a date. For example, I'm going to ask him out. This is simple, everyday English that everyone uses. Now, a very modern phrase, the talking stage. This is when two people are messaging, flirting, maybe meeting up, joking, getting to know each other, but they're not officially in a relationship yet. For example, we're in the talking stage. It can last a week or 3 years depending on how emotionally available you are. Then we have exclusive. If two people are exclusive, it means they're only dating each other, but maybe not officially boyfriend and girlfriend yet. It's like a pre-relationship relationship. For example, he finally asked me to be exclusive. Another common one is seeing each other. This also means dating, spending time together, going on dates, maybe kissing, but without a formal label. For example, we're seeing each other. This one is very useful when you don't want to explain too much. And finally, melt. This usually describes someone who is very emotional, soft, overly romantic, or easily flustered by love. Sometimes it's affectionate, sometimes slightly teasing. For example, he turns into a complete melt when he likes someone. Basically, love makes them lose their cool completely. And there you have it, a whole dictionary of British dating vocabulary that will help you understand real-life conversations, TV shows, and maybe even your own love life if you're feeling brave enough to use them. Just remember, use them carefully. use them in the right context, and preferably not in front of your boss. And if you'd like to receive practical tips and real-life English expressions delivered straight to your inbox, don't forget to subscribe to my free newsletter. The link is in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.